One of the most frustrating things that can happen to a trades business owner is when one of your best workers resigns. And if they've gone to another company for more money, it's easy to think, well, what could I have done? I was already paying him well. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your best worker probably didn't leave because of the money. The money may have been the reason they accepted the new job, but it probably wasn't the reason they were ready to leave yours. And if you understand the difference, you might be able to stop your next valuable team member from walking out the door. Let's say you've got a great tradesman. He's reliable and productive. He gets on with the team and customers love him. You've looked after him for years. You pay him well. He's got a company vehicle and you've been flexible when he needed time off. As far as you're concerned, you've done everything right. Then one day he walks into your office and says, I've been offered another job and I'm going to take it. And they've offered him an extra $10,000 a year. Your first thought is probably, after everything I've done for you. But here's the question to ask yourself. Why was he looking in the first place? The money is often the trigger, not the cause. When someone's happy, valued and fulfilled in their job, an extra $10,000 might not be enough to make them leave. But if they're frustrated or bored, if they feel unappreciated and they can't see a future, if somehow you're making their life difficult, that extra $10,000 suddenly becomes very attractive. Money doesn't create the dissatisfaction. Sometimes it simply gives the dissatisfied worker a reason to act. So let's look at 5 real reasons that good workers leave. Reason number 1, they don't feel appreciated. Your best workers can become victims of their own success. Because they're reliable, you stop noticing them. You don't have to constantly manage them, so you end up almost ignoring them. They do a great job, and you expect it. They never complain, so you assume everything's fine. They're always there, so you take them for granted. Sometimes your best worker doesn't need more money. They need to know that you appreciate their efforts and what they do matters. Reason 2, they can't see the future. They're asking themselves, what's next for me in this job? Could I become a supervisor? Can I learn new skills? Maybe be a project manager. If the only way for your best worker to progress is to leave your business, then eventually that's exactly what they'll do. And reason 3, they're frustrated by the way you operate the business. Maybe they're sick of the same problems happening over and over. Jobs aren't ready, materials aren't ordered, the schedule constantly changes, it's chaos. And if they're a good operator, maybe you're constantly asking them to clean up someone else's mistakes. And you might think you're losing them to another company because they offered more money. But what they're really after is a better working life. Reason 4, maybe they don't like your leadership style. Maybe you're an unpredictable boss. One day you're praising them, the next day you're yelling at them. One week you trusted him to make decisions, the next week you're micromanaging everything he does. People don't leave a business, they leave the experience of working for a manager. And reason 5, they don't feel valued as a person. Do you know what your best worker actually wants from their life? Do you know what they're trying to achieve? What's important to them? What motivates them? We talked before about the 6 human needs and how money is only one part of what drives people. And I'll put a link to that video below. And to remind you, the 6 human needs are certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. Now, if your business only offers someone a pay packet, don't be surprised when they get lured away by another business that offers something more. Now, you might be thinking, well, if I just matched the pay offer, maybe they'd have stayed. And maybe they would, but I'd ask you this. Would you have fixed the problem or just delayed it? If the real problem is the lack of recognition, then another $10,000 won't fix it. If the problem was your poor leadership, more money won't fix that. If the problem was frustration with chaos, more money doesn't change that. It might buy you 6 months, maybe a year, but the underlying problem is still there. So what can you do to keep them sticking around? Well, don't wait until your best worker resigns to find out how they're feeling. Sit down with them now. Ask them 3 questions. What do you enjoy most about working here? What's one thing that frustrates you about working here? And if you were in my position, what's something you'd change? And here's the important part. Don't defend yourself. Don't tell them they're wrong and explain why their frustration isn't valid. Just listen, because your best workers might be telling you exactly what you need to know before they start looking elsewhere. So the next time one of your best workers leaves for more money, don't just ask, how much were they offered? Ask yourself, what made them open to the offer in the first place? Because if you've created a business where the best people feel valued, respected, challenged, and part of something bigger, then money just becomes one factor. But if they're already unhappy, money can be the final push they need to walk away. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments. And if you want me to answer a question about running a team of tradies in a contracting business, then send me an email using the link in the description. And as always, thank you for listening.